Hello students, in this video now we are going to learn about the liquid crystals under the chapter liquid state. Okay, then liquid crystals. The liquid crystals also have some other names. Here some of them are written. First one of them is the mesomorphic state. So here liquid crystal is a one state, and this state also has the other names, and among them first one is the mesomorphic state and the second one is the crystalline solids. Liquid crystals are also called as crystalline solids. Otherwise it is also known as mesophase. Meso means intermediate, crystalline means like crystals, and fourth name is mesoform, and fifth one is the anisotropic liquids. So like that, liquid crystals have five different names. Here generally what happens when we heat the solid means it changes into liquid. Whether that solid may be transparent solid or that solid may be opaque solid, it gives us a transparent liquid. So almost all liquids are transparent, there is no doubt. But in case of some substances we observe some different thing. In between this liquid and solid we observe the formation of some translucent state or semi transparent state. That state here is called as the liquid crystal state. For example, here if we heat cholesterol para cholesterol benzoate, this is para cholesterol benzoate. Actually at room temperature this exists, para cholesterol benzoate exist as solids, sorry. And whenever we heat up to 145 degrees centigrade, we get a translucent. It is not opaque. Solids are opaque, liquids are transparent. And here whenever we heat this solid, we get a translucent means semi transparent, translucent. Look here, we get a translucent intermediate state which looks like liquid. That liquid here is called as a liquid crystal. And if we heat this liquid crystal at about the 178 degrees centigrade, we get a clear liquid. So why it happens, so let us understand. Okay, so actually this intermediate state here is called as the liquid crystal. Otherwise it is also called as the crystalline solids or anisotropic liquids. Externally it looks like liquid, liquid, but its properties resemble with the solids. This intermediate state externally looks like liquid, but its properties resemble with the solids. So that's why this translucent intermediate state here is called as the liquid crystal. Here so then we have to understand what are the properties of the solids and what are the properties of the liquids. Generally the important property of the solids is anisotropy. The important property of the solids is anisotropy. We know very well that in solids particles are arranged in a particular order, no? For example, here assume that a substance is made up of the two types of particles, A and B. If A and B are arranged alternatively, then when we take this solid and measure the properties of this solid in a different direction, we get the different values for the same property. For example, refraction index. The if for example, look here, you observe this line here, uh, B. So here each line is each row contains two types of particles alternate positions. Okay, so here we have certain value for the refractive index in this direction, and you observe this direction. Look here, in this direction, here all A particles are arranged in one side, and all B particles are there on one side. So if you measure the refractive index value in this direction, you will get a different value for the same refractive index. That means the same solid shows the different values for the same property. Such phenomenon is known as the anisotropy. So anisotropy is the important property of the solids. Due to the symmetry in the due to the symmetry present in the solids show different values for the same properties. That phenomenon is known as the anisotropy. Okay, so magnetic movements, refractive indexes, viscosity, and some electrical dipoles. So all these values may have the different values in the different directions. Okay, but in liquids we don't observe such type of the anisotropy, because in liquids all particles are arranged randomly. There is no particular order. They rotate, they move in all the directions randomly. As a result, here symmetry of the arrangement is violated. So the physical properties have the same value in all the directions, so such phenomenon is known as the isotropy. So isotropy is the property of the liquids, and anisotropy is the property of the solids. So here this intermediate state, that is a translucent state, shows the anisotropic property like that of the solids, but externally it appears like liquid. So that's why we call it as the liquid crystal or crystalline solid, crystalline liquid crystal or crystalline liquid, or mesomorphic state. Meso means intermediate state. So the state is intermediate to the solid as well as to the liquid. Solid as well as to the liquid. So that's why it is known as a mesoform, mesomorphic state, or crystalline liquid, or the liquid crystal. So all these are the different names for the same intermediate state. Okay. So now, actually, which type of substances form these liquid crystals, we have to understand. Okay, na? So generally, these liquid crystals are formed by the organic compounds which have very long chain molecules in them, and those long chain molecules should contain these functional groups. Okay, here in the first case there is double bond between two carbon atoms, and this is simple double bond or ethylene group, and second group is azoxy group. This group is known as the azoxy group. In double bond N group is known as the azo group, and one N is attached to the oxygen, so that's why we call it as the azoxy group. And we know very well this is the cyanide group. Cn is known as the cyanide group, and OR known as the alkoxy group. Alkoxy group, and this one COH is known as the carboxylic acid group. Carboxylic acid group, COH. So here the substances which contain long chains, the organic substances that contain long chain molecules with the azoxy group, cyanide group, or alkoxy group, or ethylenic group, or carboxyl group in them generally form the liquid crystals or crystalline solids. So now in this picture clearly shows which type of change, how a solid changes into liquid crystal and then after liquid. Look here. Here we know very well that in solids all the particles are arranged in a particular order. There is a order horizontally as well as vertically. We observe a particular order in the solid horizontally as well as vertically. Horizontally as well as vertically, we observe a particular order in the solids. Whereas look at this type of what is it? Order. So this order is there in the solids. And in the liquid crystal, what happens means the horizontal order disturbs, but the vertical order remains as it is. So look here. So like this, and the distances between them increase. So here horizontal order decreases, and longitudinal or vertical order retains as it is. As a result, some property these liquid crystals shows some properties of the solids and some properties of the liquids. We know very well that in liquids intermolecular distances are long than those of the solids. And still it is heated further. What happens? The horizontal as well as the vertical alignment changes, disturbs, and the molecules become random. Randomness in the molecules increases. As a result, it becomes the transparent liquid. Transparent liquid. So the temperature at which a solid is changed into a liquid crystal is called as the transition temperature. Transition means change. So the temperature at which solid changes into a liquid crystal is called as the transition temperature. And the temperature at which we get a clear liquid is known as the melting point. So related to the liquid crystals, we have the two types of the temperatures. First one is the transition temperature, and the second one of them is the melting point. For example, for the cholesterol benzoate, transition temperature is 145 degrees centigrade, and for the para cholesterol benzoate, melting point is 175 degrees centigrade. Now we take some examples related to these melting point and transition points. Okay, look here. Diethyl benzidine is a organic compound that forms liquid crystal, and its transition temperature is 150 degrees centigrade, and its melting point is 120 degrees centigrade. And for the para-benzoxyanisole, the transition temperature is 116 degrees centigrade, and the melting point is 0 degrees centigrade. Here we can see the structures in this table, in this slide. And para-methoxycinnamic acid, transition point is 170 degrees centigrade, and melting point is 186 degrees centigrade. And for the para-hydroxyphenol is 137 transition temperature and the melting point is 167. And for N-saldazine, the transition point is 165 degrees centigrade and the melting point is 180 degrees centigrade. Ajoxy means okay, I have already told you what is ajoxy group. This group is known as azo. N double bond N group is known as azo group. And if you put one oxygen here, that becomes ajoxy group. Ajoxy group. Okay. And here anisole. Look here. This is phenol. No. If you remove hydrogen and put CH3, that becomes anisole. Look here. So anisole means nothing but methoxybenzene. Anisole means methoxybenzene. And phenol means ethoxy. What is that? Ethoxybenzene is known as the phenol. Look at this is phenol. Anisole, phenosol. Anisole and phenitol. Anisole and phenitol are aromatic ethers. Okay, so methoxybenzene is anisole and ethoxybenzene is known as the phenitol. So these points we would remember, and if you remember them, we can easily write the structures. Okay, and a cinnamic acid means nothing but 1-phenyl propanoic acid. 1-phenyl propanoic acid is known as the cinnamic acid. Okay, that we would remember. Now we go for the classification of the liquid crystals. Liquid crystals. Mainly, we can classify the liquid crystals into two types. They are lyotropic crystals, and the second one is the thermotropic crystals. Lyotropic crystals means the substances which form the liquid crystals depending on the concentrations. So, some particular concentration they are able to form liquid crystals, and below that they are not able to form the liquid crystals. So concentration dependent liquid crystals are known as the lyotropic liquid crystals. And the liquid crystals that depend on the temperature are known as the thermotropic liquid crystals. Thermotropic liquid crystals. Here we have studied about the para-cholesterol benzoate. No? So we can say that para-cholesterol benzoate is a thermotropic liquid crystal. And thermotropic liquid crystals can be further divided into the two types. They are the high molar mass liquid crystals and low molar mass liquid crystals. High molar mass liquid crystals can be classified again into two types. They are side chain liquid crystals and main chain liquid crystals. And low molar mass crystals, liquid crystals can be classified into the rod-like liquid crystals and disc-like liquid crystals. Rod-like and disc-like. Again, rod-like liquid crystals can be classified into the pneumatic and smectic liquid crystals. Pneumatic and smectic liquid crystals. Pneumatic liquid crystals can be further divided into the ordinary and twisted liquid crystals. Twisted liquid crystals. Smectic liquid crystals can be classified into the tilted and perpendicular liquid crystals. Tilted and perpendicular liquid crystals. So this is about the classification of the liquid crystals. But here we study mainly three types of liquid crystals. They are pneumatic liquid crystals, smectic liquid crystals, and cholesteric liquid crystals. Pneumatic, smectic, and cholesteric liquid crystals. So here many types of liquid crystals are there, but we are going to study about the three types of liquid crystals. They are pneumatic liquid crystals, smectic liquid crystals, and cholesteric liquid crystals. Okay, here these pictures shown here in this slide indicates what are these three types of liquid crystals. So pneumatic crystals. First of all, nemato means thread. So here the molecules arrange in a such a way that they look like threads in the horizontal, the vertical columns of these molecules look like threads. So that's why such type of liquid crystals here is called as the pneumatic liquid crystals. Pneumatic liquid crystals, they align along one axis. But here we find the vertical alignment among the molecules, but here we don't find any arrangement in the horizontal plane. Okay, now we observe vertical columns, but we don't observe any horizontal columns. So here we observe thread like structures. But in smectic crystals, what happens means molecules arrange in the vertical, follow the vertical alignment as well as the horizontal alignment. As a result, we observe some layered structures in the smectic crystals. So molecules appear in the layers structure, layers. So in smectic crystals we observe the layers. Look at this is a vertical alignment, and horizontal alignment is also there. So here we can compare these smectic crystals with book. So in book we have the papers which are kept in a horizontal direction, and they are parallel to each other. And we can compare the pneumatic crystal with a broomstick. In a broomstick, all the sticks are coaxial. All the sticks are coaxial, but these sticks of the broomstick do not form any plane. Okay, na? So individual sticks are there in the pneumatic crystal, whereas in the smectic crystal we observe the planes. Okay, and in cholesteric liquid crystals, we observe the layers. We find layers. But here what happens means these layers may make some angle through the with the axis in through which they have been observed. Okay, na? For example, I assume that we are observing the layers of the cholesteric liquids in this direction. Okay, na? So this is the axis. Okay, na? And these are the layers. These are the different layers of the cholesteric liquids. Here in smectic liquid crystal, what happens? All the layers are parallel to each other. But here these layers are not parallel. These layers make some angle with each other. Look here, they make some angle. So that is the difference between these, among these three types of liquid crystals. Okay, na? In pneumatic crystals we have only vertical alignment, whereas in the smectic crystals we observe the horizontal as well as the vertical alignment. As a result, we observe the layered structure for the smectic crystals, and in the cholesteric liquids we observe the layers as it in the smectic crystals. But here these layers make some angle with each other. Now we come go for the deep study of these liquid crystals. First of all, we go for the smectic liquid crystals. These are formed by the molecules which have dissimilar parts, like soap molecules. Look here. Here we know very well that soap molecules have the head and tail structure, like this. Look at this polar part or hydrophilic part forms the tail, head, and the non-hydrophilic part or hydrophobic part forms the tail. So these molecules have the different dissimilar parts in them, no? So smectic liquid crystals are formed by the compounds which have dissimilar parts like this. Okay. Next point is that smectic crystals are formed at low temperatures by soaps. So, if the temperature is increased, the order changes and they change into the pneumatic crystals. So, pneumatic crystals are formed at high temperature, whereas the smectic crystals are formed at low temperatures. Smectic crystals do not flow as normal liquids. Normal liquids flow very easily, and their viscosity follows the Newtonian equation. So that's why they are known as the normal liquids are known as the Newtonian liquids, whereas the smectic liquid crystals are known as the non-Newtonian liquids because they don't flow freely. Okay, the best example for the non-Newtonian liquids are corn flour mixture with water. Corn flour mixture with water is the best example for non-Newtonian liquid. Fifth point about the smectic liquid crystals is that when they are spread over a clean glass plate, smectic crystals form a series of terraces or strata. The edges of the strata often show a series of fine lines even in the ordinary light. However, the effect is more pronounced in the plain polarized light. Okay, so when we spread these smectic crystals on the clean glass plate, we observe the terrace-like structures or strata. This terrace-like structure are here called as the strata. So we observe this type of strata or terraces. Okay, na? When we spread this smectic liquid crystals on the glass. Sixth point about smectic crystals is that these smectic crystals are uniaxial and are not affected by the magnetic field. So their alignment is not going to be changed. The alignment of the smectic liquid crystals is not going to be changed in the magnetic field. Seventh point about the smectic liquid crystals is that smectic liquid crystals are also give the X-ray diffraction patterns. We know very well that generally diffraction patterns are given by the solids because in solids among the molecules we have some small holes, and each layer of the solid act as a grating. As a result, we observe the diffraction patterns. In a similar way, smectic crystals, liquid crystals also behave as the solids and give us the X-ray diffraction patterns. But this happens only in one direction when viewed. And when viewed in the polarized light, these crystals appear to have a fan-like structures. If we observe these smectic crystals under the polarized light, we observe the fan-like structures in that smectic crystals. And examples for these smectic crystals are N-octyl para-hydroxycinnamate, and second example is the ethyl para-hydroxybenzoate, and third example is the ethyl para-hydroxycinnamate. So these are the three best examples for the smectic liquid crystals. The transition temperature of the N-octyl para-hydroxycinnamate is 94 and melting point is 175 degrees centigrade. And for the ethyl para-hydroxybenzoate, transition temperature is 114 degrees centigrade and the melting point is 121 degrees centigrade. And for the ethyl para-hydroxycinnamate, the transition temperature is 140 degrees centigrade and the melting point is the 249 degrees centigrade. So these are the three best examples for the smectic liquid crystals: N-octyl para-hydroxycinnamate, ethyl para-hydroxycinnamate, N-octyl para-hydroxycinnamate, and ethyl para-hydroxycinnamate and ethyl para-hydroxybenzoate. Now we go for the nematic liquid crystals. Molecules of the liquid, these type of liquid crystals are parallel to each other like the soda straws. I have already told you about this one. So here molecules are arranged in the vertical columns, and these vertical columns here look like the soda straws, but they are free to slide or roll individually. However, the molecules are not arranged in layers like smectic liquid crystals. Okay. Second point is that nematic liquid crystals have translucent appearance because they scatter light. So the nematic liquid crystals are translucent liquid crystals because they scatter the light. This is very much similar to the wetted cloth. Wetted cloth appears dark in the dark color, no? So this is very much similar to that. Now third point about the nematic liquid crystals is that nematic liquid crystals show the normal flow behavior of the liquids, whereas the smectic liquid crystals do not behave as the normal liquids. They are non-Newtonian liquids, but nematic liquid crystals are Newtonic liquid crystals. Here the concept of viscosity is applicable to their flow. These nematic liquid crystals flow as normal liquids, no? So we can apply the viscosity, normal viscosity rules. A fourth point related to the nematic liquid crystals is that these crystals are affected by strong magnetic field. Smectic liquid crystals are not affected by the magnetic field, but whereas the nematic liquid crystals are affected by the magnetic field. And when viewed in the direction of the lines of force of the magnetic field, the turbid liquid appears quite clear. The magnetic field is off, the liquid appears turbid again. So when we apply the magnetic field on these nematic liquid crystals, in one direction it looks like a clear liquid, and whenever we remove that magnetic field, again it becomes as the turbid liquid. The examples for the nematic liquid crystals are N-saldazine, dibenzoyl benzidine, para-methoxycinnamic acid, para-hydroxygenisol, and para-hydroxyphenol are the example for the nematic liquid crystals. Now we go for the cholesteric liquid crystals. Cholesteric is mesophase. Mesophase is the chiral. This cholesteric liquid crystals are chiral variant of the nematic liquid crystals. So these cholesteric liquid crystals are nothing but they have some intermediate properties related to the nematic liquid crystals and that of the smectic liquid crystals. And these cholesteric liquid crystals are generally formed by the organic compounds which are optically active. So that's why we call it as the chiral nematic phase. It is also obtained by doping the nematic liquid crystals with optically active molecules. Look here. Yeah, this is important point. It can be also obtained by doping the nematic liquid crystals by with optical active molecules. Okay, na? The name cholesteric has a historical origin, i.e., this particular type of liquid crystalline organization was observed in the esters of cholesterols. This type of crystals are generally first observed in the esters of the cholesterol. So that's why the name cholesteric liquid is given here. In these systems, there is a weak tendency for what is it? Okay, here these cholesteric liquids have the helical arrangements. Okay, helical structures like this. I have already shown. Look here, this contains layers, and these layers form helical structures like this. Helical structures like this, and each helical structure is known as helix. This helix may be right-handed helix or it may be a left-handed helix. Right-handed or left-handed helix. Okay, na? So look in the what is that? The length of the what is that? The length of the row of these liquid crystals here is called as the pitch. Here it is called as the pitch, and this pitch changes with the temperature. The size of the pitch changes with the temperature. When the size changes, the light absorbed by this cholesteric liquid also changes. That means they observe different colors at the different temperatures. That means these cholesteric liquids appear in different colors at a different temperature. So these cholesteric liquids are employed in knowing the temperatures. These molecules align at a straight angle to one another. This leads to a local director to form helix in space with a well-defined pitch that is much longer than the size of the single molecule. Helical twist may be right-handed or left-handed depending on the molecular conformation. Okay. Importantly, the pitch of the helix is temperature sensitive. I have already told you that the pitch of the helix is a temperature sensitive and therefore the reflected wavelength. Furthermore, the helical structures can be unwound by the application of the electric field. So when we apply the electricity, the electric structure may open, and again on removing that, the electric structure may be formed again. So by using the electricity and by using the temperature, we can understand, we can use them, we can change their color, and we can we can find out the temperature. Okay, now the swarm theory explains why some substances shows the form the liquid crystals. Okay, na? So according to swarm theory, uh, liquid crystals are formed by the molecules which have the long chains. These are formed by the molecules which have some long chains. So as they have the long chains, what happens? Free rotation in them will be restricted, and as a result, they are arranged in some groups, and here each group is called as the swarm. Here molecules of a swarm are, look here, you see in the picture, molecules of a swarm are parallel to each other, but these molecules are not parallel. These molecules are not parallel to the other molecules of the other swarm. Look here, these molecules are parallel to each other, but they are not parallel to each other. Here these molecules are parallel to one another, but they are not parallel to the molecules of the other swarm. Okay, so Here this swarm means here group. Swarm means here group. So molecules arrange in the swarms, and in the swarms they are parallel to each other, but one swarm is not parallel to the other swarm. And when according to this theory, when the temperature increases, the size of the swarm decreases, and at a transient temperature, this solution changes into the translucent liquid. And if still the temperature, and if the temperature is increased again and again, then this size of the swarms decrease again and again, and to a molecular size, and randomness increases in the molecules. As a result, they change, this liquid crystal change into the clear liquid. So this is about the swarm theory. But one drawback is there in the swarm theory, that according to swarm theory, the liquid crystals have to gradually change to a liquid. But actually, in actual practice, what happens means the change of the liquid crystal into a liquid occurs at once at a particular point. That particular point here we call it as the melting point. That particular temperature here we call it as the melting point. You don't observe a slow change from liquid crystal to liquid. We observe a sudden change. That is the main drawback of this swarm theory. And second point is that it fails to explain why certain long chain molecules do form liquid crystals while others do not form. So if the all the if the necessary condition to form the liquid crystal is the long chain, then all the polymers have to form the liquid crystals. But in actual practice, all the polymers do not form the liquid crystals. So here this theory fails. Next we go for the applications of the liquid crystals. Here liquid crystals are used to prepare LCD screens, and when electricity is applied on them, molecules lose their alignment and become opaque. And when the electricity is removed, molecules regain their alignment and the liquid crystal becomes transparent. Here we can see, look here. Here when electricity is not applied, what happens? Light moves from one direction to other and it becomes transparent. And when the current is applied, what happens? There is a molecules, the alignment of molecules has been changed. As a result, what happens? Here these molecules stop the light passing through it. As a result, it become opaque. And when we remove the electricity again, again it becomes transparent. So like that, these liquid crystals screens work. And the liquid crystals can be used as the commercial lubricants. Third application is that the liquid crystals have been used in gas liquid chromatography because of the fact that mechanical and electrical properties like between crystal sisters and isotropic liquids. Here in this picture, how we can observe how these liquid crystals work. These liquid crystals are used as solvents for studying structure of anisotropic molecules spectroscopically. And the fifth application is that they are used for detecting tumors in the body using a method called thermography. Okay, so here generally in thermography, cholesteric liquids are used. Here the length of the group of the cholesteric liquids here is called as the this is compile, no? So length of this pile here is called as the pitch. So this pitch changes according to the temperature. The length of the pitch changes according to the temperature. So the and the light observed or released by these molecules, liquid crystals, also change depending on their pitch. That means depending on the temperature they release different colors. This technique is used in the thermography in order to identify the tumor cells. In normal cells the temperature is less, whereas in the tumor cells the biological activity is very high. As a result, high amounts of heat will be released in the tumor cells. So, these liquid crystals are employed to identify those high temperature tumor cells, because these liquid crystals change their color depending on the temperature. So that's why these holistic liquid crystals are employed in identifying the tumor cells. This technique is here is called as the thermography. So here in this picture we can see how the color of the liquid crystal changes with the temperature applied. Look here, no color, red color is gradually increasing, green color and blue color also observed in the fifth photo here. Okay na? So different colors we can observe depending on the temperature. Thank you.